Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. During the 1980s, our family spent a few years in Arlington Heights, Illinois, a quiet bedroom suburb 30 miles northwest of Chicago's Loop. Quiet, that is, except when a commuter train of the Northwestern Railroad came rumbling through, blowing its horn. Nothing out of the ordinary ever happened in peaceful Arlington Heights. Nothing, that is, until September the 29th, 1982. On that day, a 12-year-old girl from a neighboring suburb woke up not feeling well and took a pain pill to ease the discomfort. And she collapsed in the bathroom and died within minutes. On the same day, Adam Janis, a 27-year-old postal worker from Arlington Heights, went home at noon, took 2 pain pills, collapsed and died. And later in the day, his brother Stanley and sister-in-law Teresa, while mourning his death, took the same medication from the same bottle and died. Mary Lynn Rayner was at home in nearby Winfield just a week after giving birth to her 4th child when she ingested a poisoned pill. Paula Prince, a flight attendant for United Airlines, was found dead in her Chicago apartment 2 days after purchasing pain medication at a nearby store. In all, 7 people died over a 3-day span. The string of deaths captured the fear of everyone in Chicagoland, and soon after, of the entire nation. A multi-agency investigation went to work quickly. At one store, detectives discovered a bottle of Tylenol still on the shelf, laced with a beyond fatal amount of potassium cyanide. It turned out all of these unfortunate people had taken extra-strength Tylenol, which they had bought at a variety of stores in the Chicago area, Jewel, Osco, and Walgreens, for example. Our local drugstore was on the list, if you please. The victims could have been anyone, our friends, our neighbors, us. Everyone goes to the grocery store, yet no one could have predicted that someone would be tampering with a product in such an evil way. In those days, there were no elaborate seals to prevent anyone from tampering with products. After the so-called Tylenol murders, however, Congress passed the Tylenol bill, making it a federal offense to tamper with consumer products. The Food and Drug Administration also established federal guidelines to make all products tamper-proof. Secure packaging immediately became the norm throughout the United States. Today, we take it for granted. It was determined that someone had added the cyanide after the Tylenol had left the factory. The manufacturer, Johnson & Johnson, knew it had done nothing wrong, but the company was urged to remove Tylenol from all stores in the Midwest region around Chicago. Chairman James E. Burke went far beyond that recommendation, however. We've got to do the right thing. We are pulling every bottle of Tylenol off the shelves worldwide. Worldwide? It cost Johnson & Johnson $300 million to do that. But they set the standard for tamper-resistant products, and in the long run, they saved consumer loyalty. So today, we still don't know who was responsible for this heinous crime, but we do know that the products we buy are safe because they have tamper-resistant safety seals, since Chairman Burke was determined to do the right thing and take the moral high ground. The Bible applauds doing what is right. The Lord is more pleased when we do what is right and just than when we offer him sacrifices, wrote King Solomon in Proverbs. He was echoing the words of the prophet Samuel, who had to rebuke King Saul, pointing out that obedience is better than sacrifice, when Saul had failed to obey God, but still wanted to respect religious ritual. Our Western nations have experienced an eroding of corporate morality. Employee theft costs U.S. businesses $50 billion a year. Some organizations violate workplace safety regulations. Fraud, lying, and bullying have become commonplace. Personal morality leaves much to be desired too. Almost anything goes these days in the general public arena. Doing what is right is not a foregone conclusion. It's easy for us to equate going to church with pleasing God. We forget that God has always been more interested in our obedience than our religious ceremonies. He cares more about our character than our liturgy. Yes, obedience still trumps sacrifice. Perhaps we need to run a check on our behavior before we next go to church. I don't know if Chairman James E. Burke of Johnson & Johnson was a Christian, but his wise words, "We have got to do the right thing," stuck with me. His bold action following the Tylenol murders saved the company. Let's ask God to help us to do the right thing so that our worship will not be hypocritical. And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.